Hello, it's Oopsy Daisy. I'm Ashley.
And it's me, your girl, Vanessa.
So, it's been about 3 months since we've done one of these.
I would say back up from the mic just a bit.
Oh, okay. So you're being very critical. I got a new microphone. I'm trying to be as fancy as Vanessa.
Listen, I'm just cooler than you, and it's okay.
So, okay. So how have you been for the last 3 months?
I don't know, work. So much work. Just tired. Gotta stay in the house all day, but I'm alright. You?
Yeah. I mean, I think for those last 3 months, I've actually been here. Or no, maybe the last 2 months I've been at my own place. So, but I have school,
Of
so
course you do.
that's the first couple of weeks were like a real bitch, but it's gotten to a better pace ish. But now I'm looking for internships, and that's been really fun. I've had 2 interviews the last week.
You mean unpaid work?
No, they've both been paid.
Oh!
Dude. Okay, so I went to I had this they called me first before they had an actual interview.
Yes.
And they were just telling me some stuff and asking me a couple questions, just I guess to see if I was actually, worth interviewing. And they were like, okay, so did you have any preference of how much you would want to get paid? And I was like, oh, not really. And they're like, okay, because we start at $20 an hour. And in my head, I'm like, shit, that's more than I'm getting paid now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but in my head, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fine. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
So I'm like, I really want to get that job. But yeah, they're all remote for the most part. A lot of stuff is remote right now because of COVID still, so.
I mean, rather be remote than traveling.
Well, this place is in Arizona. And they were even like, well, just on the off chance that you would have to come to Arizona, would you be able to? And in my head, I'm like, I don't want to freaking go to Arizona. I want to get out of Florida. But I'm like, yeah, I've never been that west before, so sure.
I would say that Arizona is the West Coast Florida. Is that wrong?
I mean, they're not technically on the West Coast, but...
Shut up.
But it's supposed to be very dry, and it is also supposed to be pretty hot, so...
I mean, if you got tuberculosis, it'll be great.
Where the hell did
It's dry. It's warm.
Okay.
Is that what you do when you got TB? You go dry, warm places? So just don't get TB and then you'll be fine. You won't have to go there.
I'll keep that in mind. So we had a question. Also, sorry we haven't been answering any questions or messages on the Dasey.tumblr. A lot of them are just questions for the podcast. But I've been barely going on Tumblr for the last couple of months. I just don't. So yeah. Sorry about that. But these questions we have today are from Tumblr. And someone has said, how are things in Canada and the US when it comes to Biden, the pipe, COVID-19, and your governments? Very political.
You want to go first?
My feelings about Biden, I don't really have very strong feelings about him. I voted for him. But that was essentially because he wasn't Trump.
Yeah. What other choice did you have?
Yeah.
I mean, you did have other choices.
No one
but
actually
they weren't good choices.
Win. But yeah. So, I mean, I think as many people are, they're just like kind of watching to see what he does. For the most part, it seems like he's been doing a good job so far. I'm not too deep into politics. Like I know vaguely about the pipe, but I don't even really know what it is. I think it's more of a Canadian thing, right?
It's connected, like as far as I know, because I'm not big into politics either. I'm aware of some stuff, but like apparently there's a pipeline that has to do with like our pipeline, and they want it gone. So that means our rednecks are mad
Your rednecks are mad.
because it means they can't have their oil money, which is a dumb thing to whine about. I think like get over yourself. Oil money is like passe. Do something else for money. But that's pretty much it for pipe for us. Like a lot of people are against it, and it's like it seems like only Alberta people want it because that's all they have in their life is oil.
I think that's part of the problem. Like some places are just so reliant on oil.
Well, I recently listened to conspiracy theory podcasts, and it says the states are like super dependent on oil, so y'all need to
Oh
calm
no,
down.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many of us who are just reliant on, especially for the United States. I feel like because I think it's like different in Europe because they take a lot of like public transportation because everything's so close. Like especially when you like live in like
Yeah.
cities, you're not so reliant on driving a car. But we have so much country and so much wide open spaces. We like having like homes that are like away from the city. So many of us drive, and so many of the cars are oil powered. So
It's time to switch it up. Electric.
I know
Let's
that's what I'm
go.
saying. Like so many
Clean
people.
energy.
The thing about America is that we have such a hard time getting away from what we've been doing. It's like this is how it's always been. Well, it's like, well, no shit. That's why it needs to change. Just because something's been you've been doing something for so long doesn't mean you don't change it when something else comes that could be better. I think what a lot of people see, they're like, oh, people are gonna lose a lot of jobs, and that might be true, but it's just like if you build into another type of fuel thing, you're going to be creating jobs as well within those industries. Again, I'm not super into understanding everything around this, but we got to get away from oil, people. It causes wars. As for COVID-19, I mean, we still haven't really seen too much. I think Biden just bought a shit ton of vaccines, but people have to actually take them.
You know what? I think it's a controversy that's actually going on for us in Canada. Is because all our shipments got halted, and then coincidentally, all the shipments started going to the States. So Canada's like pissed off right now because they're like, where the fuck are our vaccines? And then the States are like, oh, we just secured a million, 10 billion doses. And everyone's like, oh, I see. Thank you.
But
Guess
still,
I'll
like,
die.
I think some places are better because it depends state by state how everything's going. But for where I'm currently living in Florida, only old people and healthcare workers have been getting them. And I'm on the list to just kind of like know when things will be available for regular people, but I don't even know if I'll still be in Florida by the time that happens.
Isn't there like in California or something, people are like just going and buying shit from like the pharmacy and it's like
I
the
have no idea.
vaccine? I heard like there's places in the States that
Yeah,
you can
no,
just
I
go to a
mean,
pharmacy and buy a vaccine.
I honestly don't know, but I know that like you can go to a CVS or Walgreens, like their convenience type stores, kind of, but you obviously have to
Hmm.
like make an appointment, and usually they're gonna, especially right now, they're only prioritizing the elderly and healthcare workers. Like I know where my parents are currently living, I think in Delaware. they actually have a whole plan out. Like, you know, by this date, you like these people in this like age bracket will be able to get the doses. Florida don't have that.
My mom has been fully vaccinated.
Oh, yeah?
She had
That's
both her
good.
doses. Yeah,
That's good.
she's in healthcare, so
It just sucks because while I don't work in healthcare, I work with people who are in a hospital settings, like sometimes. So technically
Yes.
I'm not, but I still come in contact with people who do. So if they bring the COVID, I mean, but whenever I can get it, I'll definitely get it. But there's a lot of fear, which I understand because it was developed very quickly and people are kind of skeptic. But
my favorite thing about vaccines is how everyone's like, well, your vaccine's going to make you sick. And I'm like, kinda. That's the point of them. So your body knows what to
well, I think
do.
even with
You don't actually get sick.
the vaccine that they have, it's not even like a live like dosage of it. Because usually that's how vaccines work. They give you a live dosage of it in a very small form. But
Yeah.
I think even with the COVID-19, it's not even that. It's almost like a skeleton of the actual dosage or something. But still, yeah, some
just
people are going to
people
have
are
it
like-
worse, and you're going to kind of
people
have
are
to
just
go through the
fucking scared
motions of it
shit.
a bit. But that's just so that if you get it again, that your body is like, oh, wait. Like, that's exactly how vaccines are supposed to work.
And there's a reason why you're given Hep C or whatever shit at school. They're literally giving you hepatitis so your body knows how to
Exactly.
fight hepatitis.
Okay, so today, after all this political talk, thank you to whoever asked that. Okay, so today we are going to be watching the season 3 premiere episode of Life with Derek called Two Timing Derek. Vanessa, do you have your summary?
It's wild. Like, if you ever thought Derek was scummy before this episode, this is like peak Scum, in my opinion. Like, Derek's straight up no, I won't say he's enabling, but he's like, yeah, cool, I'm cheating, whatever. What's wrong with that? What up? What's that? What's up with that? And then Casey like kind of really embraces her like killer instinct and starts like stalking with Emily, and it's like a stalking killing team, so it's kind of wild. And then friends get made, but some people don't like them friends, but you know what? It's a wild episode.
What a summary. So the episode starts with Emily and Casey in the hallways at school, and Emily's talking about the people who are currently together. And so Casey asks about Derek and Kendra. And Emily reveals that Derek never has dated anyone past 21 days, but he's been with her for 32.
That's true love.
And this is where she reveals all this personal information about Derek. She just whips out this notebook with like all this like information. And I couldn't make out what other information was in there because I tried. I like paused and I looked, but I couldn't make out what it said. So Emily says she gives them another week top. They won't last more than that because Emily is obviously an expert. Max then walks by the girls and Casey gets all excited. Casey then asks Emily to do some research on Max because she wants to know if she has a shot. Side note, it always just like boggles my mind that Stephen Amell, no, that's his cousin. That Robbie Amell is kind of like the breakout star from this show. Because I freaking see him in like everything now.
Yeah, he's probably the one who's gone on and done most.
And it's just like, it's insane.
Yeah.
So anyway, cuts to a blue screen moment, and we have Casey say this. I don't like to be obvious I like someone until it's obvious they like me back. I thought that was very interesting. Because basically, we can say that for
I love
Daisy,
that.
basically. That she's, I'm just saying, like, we could say that for Daisy, though.
Yeah, it's true. But she has her things that make shit obvious. Everyone says she gets super clumsy when she likes someone and everything, so...
But still, I would say that it's very interesting for her to say. Whether... I think she means more like physical, like not physically, but like I don't know how to say it. Like, consciously, she doesn't make it obvious. Being klutzy is kind of subconscious.
Yeah. You know what? She doesn't think she's klutzy, but everyone sees it.
Mm-hmm. So Casey also says that the person also has to be available. Otherwise, it's not right. I wonder why she had to say that. Is that going to be a plot point? Now we're in the kitchen, and all of the Venturi clan is eating while Casey comes in looking for her leotard. George put them in the dryer, which is a big no.
Why? Why is it a big no?
Because it shrunk.
Okay, it shrunk. Got it.
They all proceeded to make really lame jokes. Like Derek says, like, then you better wear your tutu. And then Edwin's like, or your 3-3. I'm like, no, why? Like, I understand Derek's, but Edwin, just like, shut up. Okay?
I hate the jokes they make.
But there's nothing called a freaking 3-3, okay? Derek's somewhat made sense, but yours made no sense, okay? So,
Well, he's trying to always one up, you know? He wants to be cool.
And then Casey says they all need to steer clear from the living room after her class so that her and her partner Lucy can rehearse. Derek then proceeds to call Swan Lake Goose Lake.
That's the Canadian version, Goose Lake.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, Derek seemed interested in who this Lucy is. So in the living room later, Edwin and Lizzie are watching TV on the couch when Nora and George come in arguing over plans Nora made without consulting him. So it turns out she made dinner plans with the Allens.
Yes.
I think their last name was the Allens.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, because they all had A's. It was like Alvin, Alex, and Alice.
And
I think.
Albie or whatever. I don't know.
Albie, maybe, yeah. Albie, Alex, and Alice.
The mom was like Alice or some shit.
Yeah. And I'm just like, there's too many A's.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she made plans to have dinner with this family, and George doesn't want to go. And it turns out Edwin and Lizzie know the kid, Albie, and they're like, what is even right with Albie?
Who knows?
But Nora says they're going. So then Casey comes in with Lucy. They're moving stuff around so they can obviously dance in the living room. And Derek comes down the stairs, obviously very focused on Lucy. And he goes,
He's such a perv in this episode.
oh my god, I know. So Derek just like, first he goes onto his chair, but then immediately gets up. And he's like, I'm Derek. And she's like, I'm Lucy. In case she's like, I'm annoyed.
Yeah, look in Casey.
I just love her bite in this whole scene. It's just perfect. I love it.
She mad jelly.
So then Casey tells Derek to leave so they can dance. But Derek's like, no, I love the ballet. It's like poetry with people. And Lucy's like,
it's poetry in motion.
Well. And then Lucy's like, really? And Casey's like, no. Perfect deadpan. No.
No.
And Lucy then tells Derek that she gets self-conscious. And he's like, oh, okay, I understand. It's okay. You know, so then he leaves. And afterwards, Lucy's like, he seems sweet. And Casey's just, no, he's not.
I don't know who the actress was, but for some reason she looked hella familiar to me.
I didn't think she looked familiar at all. Yeah.
Google. Lucy Life.
Well, just go to the Life with Derek one.
That's what I'm doing. Lucy Life with Derek. Two-timing Derek. Lara Emissary? Who dat?
Her last thing is Nukem Boys. My mother's killer boyfriend. She's in some real bangers, man.
Private Eyes. Maybe it's from Private Eyes. Oh, she's in Flashpoint. Maybe that. No. That's not it. I don't know, but she looked familiar.
Radio Free Roscoe?
Radio Free Roscoe, that must be it.
The first thing she was in.
Oh, I know who it is. Got it. I got it now. I know who she is. Got it.
Because I don't know what she looks like, and that seems like the only show that you would really watch that you would know.
Listen, guys, follow me for all Radio Free Roscoe content. But don't actually, because I'm secret.
Well, also, you don't say anything about Radio Free Roscoe.
I always bring it up when I notice someone.
Yeah, but don't follow you anywhere, because it's not like you talk about it constantly. Yeah.
Shut up! I'm gonna start a side podcast when we get Sally in here, because she's in Radio Free Roscoe.
Okay. So then, presumably after Lucy leaves, Casey storms into Derek's room and tells him to leave Lucy alone. Derek says sure, after Casey gives him her phone number. She goes, "Oh, Derek!" and then goes to leave, only to come back to tell him that Lucy is cultured and sensitive and to not date her friend. But of course, Derek's like, "Well, you've dated mine." She's like, "Shit."
I enjoy how whenever Casey has friends, they're automatically cultured, and Derek is uncultured and can't date them.
But also, why does Derek have to want to date all her friends?
I mean, it's
except
true.
Emily, which, I mean, eventually he does, but basically anyone she's brought to the house, Derek's been like, "Hey."
What up? What up, boo?
She's like, "Okay, fine, you can scratch that." But he's like, but she's like, "But you have a girlfriend." And like, that's the main point here, people.
Yeah, that's the big one. Like, oh no, it's not my friend. No, it's you're already in a relationship with someone. And this kills me because this centers around my personal life of family and how this actually happened in my family life. And it's such a fucking nail in the head. I can't. It affects me. I hate it.
Okay. So then Derek claims he's not a one girlfriend kind of guy, and that Kendra knows that. And so Casey's like, "So you spend all your time together, your free time together, after school, on weekends, in between classes, you spend all your free time together, but Kendra thinks you're not exclusive." And Derek's like, "Yes." Like, yeah, okay, Derek. Yeah, okay.
The mental gymnastics he had to get through that.
Derek said he doesn't believe in long-term relationships and that he's going to break up with Kendra any day now. So then just do it, Derek. Why are you waiting, boy? And Casey says that until he does, he shouldn't be trying with Lucy. Which, yes, definitely Casey. Like, I feel like this is the one episode where I've been like, "Casey, I agree with you."
Yeah, usually she's like hella shady in her shit because we know why. Because # serial killer. But this is the one she's like, "Oh my god, no, that is wrong. I may kill people, but I draw the line at adultery." And I respect that. I respect her for it.
It then shows, like, right afterwards that Edwin is sneaking into Casey's room and going on her computer. Her background has daisies, people.
I didn't even notice
I think it's a daisy
that!
anyway, but pretty much sure it's like a daisy on her background. So that's
Okay.
Also, Casey's old password was Casey.
Yeah. You know what? I was actually I zoned out and I only got to the AZ and I was like, her password's Daisy? What the fuck?
Could you imagine? Jeez. But yeah, so her original password was Casey. At least when I used to make the password, where I use my name, I put like numbers after it.
Why would you put your name in a password though?
This is like in the early days of accounts and stuff. So,
I got you.
You had to figure out something that people wouldn't know, but also something you had to remember. And I think I can remember my own name, but
I mean, I don't know. Your name's very hard. I can't spell it properly, so I'd never be able to
My
hack you.
name?
Yeah, I always spelt your name wrong, and you always gave me shit for it.
You can't spell Ashley?
I misspelt it once on my phone, and you were like,
Bitch. It's the normal way of spelling Ashley, okay?
I spelt it like Ashley or whatever. I don't even know, but I spelt it wrong, and you never let me live it down.
So Ed was like, "Oh no, she changed it. What could be her new password?" And then he looks, and there's this post-it note sticking right on her computer that said, "Password is down with Derek."
That could have been written. It could have been taken so
Yeah, I
many
know.
ways. I just want to say, when he was there, like
Is
writing it,
Casey
and I
going
was
to
like,
go down on Derek?
yeah, literally, I was like, oh my god. I was like, this show is rated R.
Like I would love for Derek to have been the one that finds it, and he the one that
Oh
does it,
my
and you just be
God.
like, "Oh."
Oh. Yeah.
But okay, so Ed was like, "Oh, great. This is convenient. It's just not too convenient, obviously." And he puts in the password, and he finds Lucy's phone number. And so in the next scene, Derek has presumably called the phone number, but is busy. He then looks at the number, and he's like, "Wait, this is our phone number." And he tells he tells Edwin he's been fooled by Casey, but like, Derek, didn't
So is
you
he.
just type in that number on the phone?
Yeah. Do you not know you're typing in your own phone number? It's
Seriously.
ridiculous.
It's not like in today's days where like people don't really know each other's phone numbers anymore.
God, do you remember the days of having to memorize?
Yeah, a lot of my friends like numbers like memorized, but today,
I remember that I didn't memorize my friends' numbers, that I had like the yellow pages or whatever, well, the white pages, but I literally would go down, and when I found their number, I highlighted their number in the phone book. Because there's like a million of that last name. You don't want to have to go all the way down, right, and find it. So I was like, all right, this line highlighted.
yeah, I used to go through the yellow pages too. It's wild. It's wild.
We're boomers. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm more of a boomer, obviously.
Well, you're a little bit older, but
I'm a boomer.
But anyway, Derek's like, "Well, how am I supposed to get in contact with Lucy now?" And then conveniently, Lucy calls the house at that very moment. And so Derek's like, "Oh, Casey can't come to the phone right now." And so he obviously starts talking to her. So everyone is now at dinner, and Casey asks George if his son has any morals. And George is like, "Yeah, which ones are we talking about?"
The most important morals, sir.
And Casey's like, "The one where you're not supposed to be dating one person at a time." And George kind of just looks at Dick and like, "He better know that one."
Apparently not. Like,
no,
his dad literally doesn't tell him to stop or anything. He literally like condones him being a cheater.
And then he's like, "My boys should be treating women as good as they treat their sisters." And like all the girls turn to look at him like, seriously.
I mean, the foreshadow for the two popular ships in the fandom, which is Lizzie Edwin and Dasey. So treat them as good as you would treat your sister.
Oh God.
Horrible. The show is horrible.
So then George amends that statement, realizing how bad it actually is, and he's like, they should treat them better than their sisters. It's like, well, no, they should start treating their sisters well too.
Better.
But you know. And so before, Casey can say anymore, Derek kind of like diverts the conversation by asking if his dad's excited for the dinner that's coming up that they're all dreading. So George and Nora start fighting too, and they take it to the kitchen because, the kids don't want to listen to it. And Derek then tells Casey that she has to call Lucy back since she called before dinner. But just so that she knows she's not available Friday because she's going out with him. And of course, Casey's just like, oh my God, how dare he?
Oh my God, how dare. How dare. How dare! How dare, Darak? How dare you?
So then Casey is in Lizzie's room ranting to her about Derek. And poor Lizzie is in bed, yawning, clearly tired and not wanting to hear this shit.
I thought she was like dying in that scene, just the way she was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, she's so weak, she's dying.
And then Casey keeps going on and on and on if she should tell Kendra or not, since Derek is family. But, okay, so I've already told my brother, and I'm like, dude, if you ever, like, do something shitty, like, let's just say, like, cheat on his girlfriend or something, I'm like, I'm not on your side. Don't even ever expect that shit for me to be on your side.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about
never.
family in that context.
Yeah. No. If you're doing something wrong, I will cut you. Just like I cut my father out of my life. That's why it's a personal episode!
It's a deep cut.
The deepest. The first cut is the deepest. I don't know the rest of the song. Sorry. We don't want to be sued. Because of the 200 people that watch this show. Woo. Listen.
So then she noticed that Lizzie falls asleep. So she tucks her in and she leaves. But of course, like right after Casey leaves, like Lizzie just gets back up and she starts reading. So she was faking, and I love her for that.
Yeah. She's got some skills.
She's learning devious ways from the Venturis for sure.
Yep.
So then Casey goes to brush her teeth, and Derek is already in the bathroom brushing his. And Casey just tells him, like, okay, we need to talk. And she asks about what if, Kendra calls while he's out. Like, what are you thinking? Like, what is your plan? Like, and he's like, oh, well, I already have that all situated. She won't know about my whereabouts. And she's just like, she tells Derek that either he has to dump Kendra or cancel his date with Lucy, or she'll make the choice for him. So he just kind of flings his floss around her. And then he says, that's a lot of trash talk coming from someone who's wearing bunny slippers. He doesn't take her threat very seriously.
Man, bunny slippers are threatening. I don't know about you. They'd terrify me.
So back at school the next day, Casey is on the steps with Emily and asks about the information she was able to find out about Max. So Max is late 3 out of 5 days of school. But apparently he has early football practice, so that might be one of the reasons why.
Well, I've heard of early hockey practice, but never early football.
I think there was. I can't personally say for me.
I thought it was always an after-school thing, for sports at school. It was always after school in my...
I think it really just depends about, what other sports are going on and if, you need to share fields or anything.
Well, as someone who was on a high school team, it was always after school.
Oh, yeah, a lot of the stuff for my schools were after school, but I do know that some people do, early practice stuff, but...
I know that if there were games, it was during school sometimes. So you'd have to get permission from your teachers that you were going to miss their class because you're like, I gotta go and play on the team and I gotta go. And they'll be like, no, your grades are shit. You're staying. And you're like, okay. And then not that ever happened to me. Ever. And then had to be busted out of school by my teammate's brother.
Busted out of school.
Yeah, because I couldn't leave with the rest of the team. So he randomly drove to school, picked up me and his sister who was on the team, and then he drove us an hour away to where we were playing.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, do your schoolwork, kids. So you can go and play your hockey games.
Playing hockey.
Why not?
My
It's
school
the
didn't have a
greatest.
hockey team,
If
so
nothing, the show tells us that.
I'm just saying, not everyone has freaking hockey
Ugh.
teams, unlike probably everywhere in Canada.
I mean, true.
And then also, his favorite color is burgundy. Why can't we just say red?
Because it's not red.
Yes, it is. It's
Red
freaking
is
red.
not the same as burgundy.
Do you know that like one like GIF or meme or whatever that's the guy's just like
The blood orange?
yeah. That's
He's
what
like,
it
shut up,
reminded
it's
me of.
red.
It's like it's not blood orange.
I'm gonna bring up a swatch of color for you right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
There's various degrees of red, and it falls in the red category.
I don't think so, because the color red,
I looked at it yesterday.
burgundy, is like a purpley red.
I'm still seeing things that are very, very red, and it's a portion of red.
How is this red to you?
The things I'm
It's
looking at
fucking
on the thing right
purple.
here is still red.
This is not red. This is purple. Guys,
Some of them
we
look
just
like
figured it out.
purple, but some of them look
Okay, you
just
guys.
like a dark red.
Okay, you guys, we sussed it out. Ashley is hard of hearing and clearly colorblind.
No, I'm not. I have very good perception of color, okay?
Nope.
It's part of the red
You've
family.
heard it here first.
It's part of
We're
the
gonna
red family.
leave
Just
us
like pink,
comments.
it's part of the
We're
red
gonna put
family.
a poll up.
Purple is even part of the freaking red family because you have to make purple with red.
Listen, we're putting up a poll, and we're gonna say, is burgundy red or not? And I'm gonna win. You okay? I may have lost the turkey is better
Or
than
don't.
chicken battle.
You let them look it up themselves.
Yeah. And then I will put a poll up that says, is burgundy red, yes or no? And guess what? I'm gonna fucking win because you're colorblind.
Whatever. Okay. So anyway, she also finds out that he's single, but also not, since he has this on and off relationship with a girl named Amy. And they may be back on at this point. So obviously Casey is bummed, so she said she'll just have to pine and wait. Emily then says that hopefully like Derek will be single soon too. And Casey tells her, well, probably sooner than you think, which obviously Emily wants to know what she's talking about. So Casey tells her that Derek has a date with someone else on Friday. And Emily is like, what? That's so out of character for Derek, since he's always had the benefit of breaking up with someone before going out on a date with another person.
Listen, sometimes dudes are scummy. And Derek is scummy.
Oh, I know. It is interesting that, like, obviously this is a first for him in a lot of ways, but that doesn't make it any better.
That's true.
Like, just because this is the first time he's ever considered on cheating doesn't mean it's okay. Then Casey's at her locker when Emily comes up to her. And Emily's like, oh my god, why is Kendra talking to, like, you know, this... She's flirting with this guy, Andre, who apparently is this, like, French kid.
Andre?
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 So Emily
I have a
gives
cousin called Andre.
Yeah. Emily gives Casey these big-ass binoculars.
Yes! I pointed this out to you. Like, how the fuck? Here, give me those. Okay, but be discreet. Okay, let me pull out these fucking binoculars that you can see the surface of the goddamn moon with. But yeah, I'll be discreet. Okay, Emily.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But also, you know, like, how sometimes, like, I think it's, like, bird watchers, they have, like, really small ones or something. Like, they have much smaller binoculars that you can actually somewhat be discreet with. But, like, how freaking far away are they that they can't even, like, see that well? Like, they can't be that far, okay? They can't be that far.
No, they're probably, like, 10 feet away from them.
Yeah, they can't be that far because they see it to begin with. So they have these huge-ass binoculars, and they're just looking at this, like, interaction. So you can't tell me that Kendra wouldn't be able to see them doing this and wondering what the freak they are doing. Anyone around them must be like, what freaking creeps are these?
I can't, because, like, you know, as a kid when you'd use binoculars indoors, because binoculars all the time. You're like, oh, I gotta get my binoculars, but they were always too far. It was like way too close up, so you'd flip them backwards and look through like the big like thing.
Yeah.
So it'd be smaller. So she should have done that and looked through like an eye hole, but instead she's like, all right, I'm out hunting for this prey. Let me get my huge ass binoculars out.
But also, why does she have them in her bag?
Because they're a team. They're a serial killer team now. They have now bonded. Two-timing Emily is gone. She's not a two-faced bitch anymore. They are now a killer team. And they stalk together. And that's their kill equipment in her bag.
Emily does all of the prep work.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like she finds out all the information, makes sure everything goes smooth, and then Casey's the one that infiltrates and actually does the action.
Yeah. That's it. We found it. They're in it together.
Okay.
TED Talk.
So back at the house, Casey goes to Derek in the kitchen, and she asks how things are going with Kendra, and he's like, oh, that's fine, as long as you didn't say anything to her. And then she then tells him that maybe he should watch out because, you know, maybe Kendra's doing something with a certain French guy. And Derek's like, you mean Andre?
Frere Jacques? God.
And then she's
take
like,
me back.
does that bother you? And he's like, no. But it obviously very bothers him because then he's in his room with Edwin complaining, like, how could Kendra be going out with, even thinking about going out with another guy when she's going out with me? Like, he's this, like, ultimate prize. And Derek keeps complaining, even accusing the French kid from being maybe from Buffalo. And Edwin's like, he's a French family who speaks French or something. Like, it's just like, it's not adding
like,
up.
His brother's in my class, Serge, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually like a super French name in French. Serge, yeah, it's fucking French.
So he's like, I think you're just jealous, Derek. He just like tells Edwin to leave his room. He kicks him out, and so he actually goes to call Kendra, but she's not home, and he makes this assumption that she's with Andre, and he obviously is pissed off. So back at school, Casey is with Emily, and Emily compliments Casey on her burgundy shirt. So I guess they're going to go and try and talk to Max.
Yep.
And they do see Max coming down the hallway. And then Casey's like, is it like really cheesy to accidentally run into him on purpose? And Emily's like, yeah. And Casey's like, okay, I'm going to do it anyway. Then why ask?
Yeah.
So she starts backing up, but instead of running into Max, she runs into this other guy.
Yeah. Oh,
apparently his name's Keegan.
Keegan. That's who it is, not Kenneth. Yeah. Keegan.
And Max is like, oh, so you and Keegan. And Casey's like, oh, no. And then he's like, oh, cool. So then maybe I can call you later. And she's like, yeah, I love that. So Casey goes to Emily all excited, like, oh, did you see that? And Emily's like, the way you body check. Like, yes, that's what we have to pay attention to.
Yes.
But also, Hockey AU, Vanessa.
I told you.
She knows how to get it done.
We wrote this.
But then she tells Emily, like, no, Max wants to call me. But Emily says, like, no, this is terrible because Max, he's apparently on with that girl, Amy. And couldn't she tell her this beforehand?
No, she just found out like a second ago.
Like, oh, Casey, wow, see you wearing burgundy. Oh, but, you know, before you go talk to Max, maybe you shouldn't do anything, like, because apparently he's with Amy still. Like, why are you doing this, Emily? Waiting for dramatic effect like this?
She just got the scoop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, while that was happening.
Yeah.
Keegan gave her the scoop.
Yeah.
After she got pummeled by Casey, he was like, oh, Emily, just so you know, Max is on with Amy.
Yeah.
So then at home, everyone but Derek and Casey are getting ready to go to the dinner with the Allens that everyone but Nora is dreading. So George asks Derek, oh, like, what are your plans? And because Edwin called this outing a play date, Derek says, I've got a play date of my own. Which, like, why would you say that to a parent? That is so, like...
I'm disgusted.
But then George is like, oh.
I'm telling you, he legit doesn't condone his son's grocery, you know? It's like, oh, you're already in a relationship? Oh, you got a play date. Yeah, what a boy! Woo! Boys will be boys! Woo!
But he basically just says, like, oh, well, say hi to Kendra for me, because that's who he obviously thinks, like, his date's with. But why would you say played? I don't know.
It's gross.
Because you're insinuating that you're going to get a little frisky there, right? That's what comes to mind when I would hear someone, oh, we're going to have a play date.
Bitch, disgusting.
But, like, even if your parents are thinking that might be happening, you don't want to, like, basically tell them that you're going to be.
Yeah.
So Derek is just like, yeah, I'll say hi to Kendra for you, because I'm totally seeing her.
Yes.
And then a little later, Derek opens up the door, and I guess he's waiting for Lucy, but it's Kendra. And Derek's like, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be brushing up on your French? And she says, oh, shouldn't you be practicing your plie, or whatever the hell you say it?
Plie.
Plie?
Plie.
Plie? I don't know. What the freak? Anyway. And Derek's like, Casey. But it's also impressive that Derek doesn't even know Swan Lake, but he knows what that is, a ballet move.
Maybe he actually likes ballet and he's like, doesn't want anyone to know because his reputation.
That's exactly what it is. He's a huge ballet buff.
Dude, he's like probably seen the Nutcracker and like all the Swan Lakes and everything.
That's why he purposely said Goose Lake, knowing it was wrong.
You heard it here first, folks.
But he's a huge ballet fan. He was speaking from the soul when he was talking to Lucy earlier.
He's actually an aficionado of ballet.
Yeah. When he was little, he took lessons just because, you know.
No, his
mom thought it'd be interesting for him.
You know what they say about hockey? They say it's ballet on ice.
So yeah, he wanted to be a little bit more manly. So he was like, what do I do? What do I do? And then they're like, oh, well, hockey's ballet on ice. He's like, that's it. I'll do it.
I love ballet. Let's do it.
Dude. What the hell is that movie called where the hockey player becomes the figure skater?
Cutting Edge. I know exactly what it is. That movie's amazing.
We need a Dasey AU for that, if there isn't already one.
I don't know, but that's an amazing movie. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, so Derek is hiding the fact that he is a ballet fan. So anyway, Derek then goes to Casey's room and he told her that she broke the sibling code.
Oh my god.
And she says yes, because he wasn't being honest with Kendra nor Lucy. She even told Lucy too, and she's not coming. And that girls have to stick together against guys like him and Max. And he's like, what the hell does Max have to do with it?
Max a cheater.
It's none of your business. He's like, oh, but you could be in my business?
Hell yeah.
Yes. So then she tells Derek that, like, again, Casey was kind of very mature in this episode. She's like, you can be mad with me later, but Kendra's down there waiting for you.
Yeah.
So Derek goes back downstairs with Kendra, and he starts with just reminding her that she was flirting with Frere Jacques.
Frere Jacques. Love him.
And she's like, Andre.
It's
like, and how do you even know about that? And Derek's like, Casey. And she's like, oh, she broke the girl code. And Derek's like, yeah, she's a real code breaker.
I love it.
Not only does she break codes, but she has people break codes for her. Like the bro code.
The bro code.
And the male code blue. Kendra then said that she was just flirting with him. And like, you know, she wasn't like him, you know, that asked someone else out. Like she never went on a date with, you know, Andre. And he was like, well, what about yesterday? Like last night you weren't home. She was like, I was out shopping with my mom. So he made that assumption.
Oh.
Derek's defense to asking out Lucy was that he meets a cute girl and then he hits on them. And basically he's not used to being in a long-term relationship with someone. it gets let out that he was somewhat planning to break up with Kendra, and of course Kendra's like, what?
How dare?
What? But then Derek kind of like smoothly is like, well, maybe I didn't break up with you because I still liked you.
That makes it so much worse, though. Like, oh my god.
I know. It's just like, listen, I understand not being used to being in a long-term relationship. I understand, you know, he's probably never liked someone maybe to this degree, but that does not condone the actions that just happened.
I just
like
hate
at
this
all.
episode so much.
This is, I mean, like, it's in the part that, like, Derek and Kendra work, but not in a good way. Like, they only enable each other to continue to be, like, a worse version of themselves, I feel like. So they don't better each other, because basically Kendra was like, oh, you're really shitty, but so am I.
Let's
We're
be
perfect
shitty
for
together.
each other. Like,
let's be shitty together.
Yeah. So then Kendra and Derek both agree that they don't want to see the other dating someone else, so they're going to stay together. And then Casey comes down like applauding. She's like, wow, that's such a healthy breakup, guys, because they were hugging.
Yeah.
And then she's appalled when she
Actually?
finds out they're still together. She's like, you can't let guys walk over all over us like this. But I find it so funny that she was like so set on them breaking up, and she was like so happy that they were breaking up.
Because she wants Derek.
Obviously.
Her password said so.
Like, she keeps that password.
I just love how she like just had it out in the open for anyone to see.
Oh my god, I know. But then also, like, you know, Derek's like, oh, Edwin, what was Casey's password? And he's like, oh, down with Derek. And like, he's too young to understand, so it goes over his head. And then Derek's like, excuse me?
Well, what if he was just talking to him and was just like, oh yeah, the password was down on Derek. And then he was like, excuse me, and he read it wrong. And then, yeah, like, that could have been horrible.
Also, just a quick thing, because I am on the Dasey Discord, but shout out to them. But also, they were talking about how Daniel Madger, who plays Edwin, he's a couple years older than Jordy.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, really? Because especially like the first season, he looked like he was 9, but he was like 13 there.
I'm Googling. Also, I hear they're very thirsty on the Discord. Is that wrong or right?
They can be very naughty. They can be very thirsty.
I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it.
They wanted you to join Vanessa, but then Vanessa was like, no, fuck you. And
I did not! That is not true. That is false. This is hearsay. It's unconstitutional, whatever you're saying.
So, anyway, yeah. So, Daniel's older than Jordy by a couple years. Max then just, like, randomly called the house. People just love to call the house.
They're
Like,
popular as fuck.
When opportunity really needs them to, right? So, she answers the phone, and she's just like, okay, well, I'm really glad you called, because I have something I need to tell you. And then she starts it off with, it's clear there's an attraction between us.
I thought you're not supposed to, like, give out that info unless they like you back.
I guess him calling her was that
Okay.
indication.
Got it.
But she's like, but I will not do any dating activities or something like that until you have cleared up things with your alleged girlfriend, Amy. And then Max tells them they broke up, and Casey's just like, oh, okay, then never mind. And then she just hangs up.
Okay, bye.
You don't want to say anything else, Casey? The guy called.
No. That's it. We're good. We're done.
I want to be like Max on the other line and be like, Casey?
Okay.
Did you hang up, Casey? Did you not want me to break up with Amy?
Okay, bye.
So then the last scene is that the family is coming back from the dinner, and Derek asked how bad it was, and George like, oh, not bad. Like they watched the hockey game on the home theater.
Hell
Ooh.
yeah.
And the kids, they were playing like some cool space simulator game, and it was Nora, of course, that didn't have a good time. Damn, Alice all just wanted to talk about gardening and golf. I get it. I get it, Nora. I'd be bored too.
Hey man, I enjoy golf. I don't like watching it, but I enjoy playing it.
I like
So don't
mini
be mean
golf, and
about
that's as far as I'm gonna go.
That's my strongest golf game. When I get to the putting green, my mini golf game comes out, and I'm the best.
Okay, so that was the end of that episode. It was very infuriating episode for sure, because we like it's kind of like you were saying, like you kind of have this like version of Derek that is just like you kind of already assume that he's like Scum, but then this episode happens and you're like, oh my god, he's Scum.
Yeah, he's actually Scum.
Like he didn't end up going through with it, but that's basically because Casey prevented it. Like if Lucy did come over that night, like he cheated.
He's Scum.
He cheated.
Yeah.
Can't go back from that.
Nope.
So
He's Scum.
yeah. So there's that. So I was not a fan of Derek in this episode, especially because even though he knew it was a bad idea, he was still willing to go through with it. And I feel like a lot of it was because he just like he likes messing with Casey, but he's messing with a lot of more people than just Casey in this scenario. So it's not good.
100%.
So this is another question. How do you feel about the fact that there are more than 200 people who are listening to your podcast?
I don't know. I don't know where these stats came from.
I think we have over 100, I think, on YouTube. But
I mean,
I guess that's a rough estimate of 200 people.
yo, where's the 5,000 fans at? I know you out there.
Just the fact that anyone's listening is pretty nice.
True.
Because, that makes it so that we're not just two people talking to no one.
Yelling into the void.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So
what about the favorite and most hated sandwiches of the children?
So yeah, this is another question we got in the messages. Your opinion for favorite and most hated sandwich for each kid in the family.
I can tell you right now.
I don't know sandwiches. So
I can tell you right now, from what I have seen, Casey loves a good cucumber sandwich. She makes cucumbers in that one episode, a cucumber sandwich, when they're trying to sneak out. So clearly that's her favorite cucumber sandwich.
Obviously that's spoilers for anyone who hasn't actually watched the episode. It's in later season 3.
Yo, so. I fucking love cucumber sandwiches, so I feel on it with her. Delicious.
What kind of sandwich do you think Derek likes? I think he likes a good sub.
Yeah, because you see him eating that huge ass sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the tomato, and it looks like it's got a ham or a turkey in there. The lettuce and shit. He likes a good full sandwich. Hearty sandwich.
I don't eat sandwiches, so I really don't have much of an opinion on this. What about Lizzie and Edwin?
I'm going to say that Marty is probably peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Because she loves the jelly. It's purple.
Right. Yeah, just jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, just jelly sandwiches. I feel like Edwin is something out of there. He's probably the I don't think it's something we have, but I think the States have it. And it's like a fluffer nutter. It's like the peanut butter and marshmallow.
Oh yeah.
Marshmallow fluff. I feel like Edwin would be like that, or maybe Nutella. He was a Nutella dude. I love a good piece of bread sandwiched with a bunch of Nutella in the middle. I love that, and I feel like he would too. Lizzie's probably boring as fuck, and is I love vegetable sandwiches. I love a good veggie sandwich. The environment.
The
Don't
environment.
kill animals. I don't want no animal in my sandwich. That's what I feel like Lizzie is.
The only thing I know for most hated sandwich for Casey would be ones that don't have gummy worms in it.
Yeah, ones with gummy worms in it, she does not like.
Yeah. But otherwise, I don't know what else she would hate. But
I don't know. I don't know about hated though. Like Derek would probably eat anything.
oh yeah, Derek. I don't think he's just a human vacuum, so he'd eat whatever was in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah, the rest I don't know. But let's talk about something else. There was some slut shaming going on because Jordy has OnlyFans now. So she's doing her thing. Listen, a lot of people are doing it. It's hard times.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, if you don't like it, don't follow her.
Yeah.
I stopped following her long before she was doing the OnlyFans stuff. But just because, like, she was just posing, like, the yoga stuff
yoga
all the time
photos?
or whatever. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I still haven't gotten around to it, but it's like yoga.
I don't care. So I stopped following her, like, years ago.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to there yet. I'm like, I keep forgetting to. Like, I'll go through my Instagram. I'm like, yoga. I'm like, okay, yep, that's a little too much. Okay, yoga. No, okay. And then I totally forget. And I'll just keep going through the Instagram stories of other people, and then I completely forget to unfollow. But no, it's her life choice.
But yeah, if you don't like it, then just don't bother yourself with it. That's my thing.
Yeah.
You know, especially right now, she's probably not working as much as maybe she would be, so she wants to make money some way, and she doesn't have an issue with putting herself out there, so
apparently it's like super safe the way it's set up for the like OnlyFans.
I think it's like basically you have to legally say you wouldn't share the information, like it's like legally binding, and I think they probably prevent you from really like screen capping or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. There was something like that on like one of the latest like Law and Order SVU. It was like a made up site like that, and it was all about that. So I was like, "Yo, where's Jordy at?"
I'm sure somewhere, like I'm sure that you're able to get them. It's just
just gotta pay her whatever fee she has.
Yeah,
that's what I'll ask her. I'm gonna we ever get her on the show, I'm like, tell me about your OnlyFans right now for this one person who absolutely slut shames you. I want to hear more.
God. Again, it is what it is. Like, if you don't like it, don't follow her. Even before, I had unfollowed Michael at one point. Not anytime recently, but this was like 2010-ish or so.
Impossible. You would never unfollow Michael.
Well, I did. I think it was on Twitter, and because he was just like posting batshit crazy crap, and I was just like, dude, okay, whatever. Like, I just don't want to. I don't care. And then obviously a couple years later is when like it was reignited my love for him, so I followed him back. But but again, if you don't like something, unfollow. Just get it out of your mind.
I have a theory.
Don't worry about it.
I have a theory. They just mad jelly that Jordy has a bod that is worth selling on OnlyFans.
That may be.
Got that yoga body. That's what it is.
That may be. Honestly, I don't understand why people have such an issue with it. Like, it's their choice. If they end up having negative consequences because of it.
Did you hear about the, was it the EMT who was on OnlyFans and she lost her job because of it?
Oh, yeah. But again, people are saying, like, well, why is that? For the most part, if you have such an essential job like that, you shouldn't be needing to have an OnlyFans account just to pay bills.
Yeah, there's the real issue. Not that she had OnlyFans, just that no one pays essential workers what they need.
Exactly. So I think that's just...
And fuck that journalist who like got her fired.
And I think it's bullshit, because it's like, they put this like mentality on like, you can't be sexy and also do your job well.
It's true.
That's like, no, it's not, whatever. It's okay. So this is the end of the podcast now. Hope you liked all these political shit, and
Hope you like a 3-month hiatus, because it's gonna be another one probably.
Hopefully not.
Nah.
Hopefully we can put out a few consistent ones.
Maybe the next one will be another episode. Maybe it'll be an alternate one. Who knows? I don't know yet.
Okay. Bye-bye.